Good afternoon and welcome. Today is the 26th of April 2021. This is lunchtime news on TV1. I'm Jama Ratnayaka for News First, the voice of the people. Here are your headlines for this afternoon.
Surge in COVID-19 cases in Sri Lanka. Health authorities identify 2 provinces as high-risk locations. Government officers to operate with limited staff from tomorrow. Satyagraha launched by farmers of Valsapugala completes 100 days. India receives international support to combat rampant COVID-19 wave.
On to your top story for this afternoon. The police has forwarded an application to the Ministry of Defence to detain and interrogate former Minister Rishad Badudeen and his brother Riyad Badudeen for a period of 90 days. The parliamentarian and his brother were arrested on Saturday and are currently detained by the Criminal Investigations Department. Police spokesperson DIG Ajit Rohana, speaking to News First, said former Minister Badudeen and his brother are currently being interrogated by the CID and they were arrested on the charges of aiding and abetting the 2019 April 21st attackers. Today marks Bak Full Moon Poya Day, which also marks Lord Buddha's second visit to Sri Lanka. Bak Poya Day is of great significance to Buddhist devotees.
It also mentioned it was on a day like today that Prince Siddhartha saw the first of the 4 sights, an old man, which prompted the prince to seek enlightenment. Lord Buddha visited Sri Lanka for the second time on a day like today to advise King Chulodara and Mahodara, who were preparing to wage war. The history of Sasana notes that the Lord Buddha, on reaching Nagadeepa, preached to the Naga tribe and made them understand the value of peace and averting war between the 2 kings. A special religious event to mark the Bak Full Moon Poya Day was held at the Shakya Malake opposite the head office of the Capital Maharaja Group this morning. The event was sponsored by the MTV MBC head office. According to our correspondent, a dip in the number of devotees at the Jai Sri Mahabodhiya and Ruwan Velisaya in Anuradhapura had been noticed. A reduction in devotees was also witnessed at the Temple of the Tooth, Kandy, and similar scenes were observed at the Kalatra Temple.
Reports have surfaced to claim that the historic Rambukwalla Rajamaha Vihare in Kandy is in a dilapidated state. The historic temple had been constructed during the reign of King Senarath, who ruled the upcountry around 1722. According to the chief prelates of the Rajamaha Vihare, Venerable Verepitiya Ratanapala Thero, the temple, which bears significant historic value, is currently in a rundown state due to the negligence of authorities. Numerous items of the temple, including frescoes with much archaeological value, are currently faced with the threat of destruction owing to the lack of proper conservation.
Attention must be drawn towards this by the officials of the Department of Archaeology. It would be meritorious if we receive support to rebuild and redevelop this historic temple.
A decision has been reached to operate state institutions with limited staff from tomorrow. Secretary to the Ministry of Public Administration, J.J. Ratnasiri, stated that the action was taken in light of the surge in COVID-19 cases in Sri Lanka. The relevant circular will be issued tomorrow. Meanwhile, issuance of driver's licenses at the Verahara office of the Department of Motor Traffic has been limited due to the prevailing COVID-19 situation in the country. Accordingly, drivers who reserved an appointment for the driver's license section of the Verahara office will be afforded the opportunity to fulfill their requirements from tomorrow until the 13th of May. Those who have reserved appointments must arrive between 8:30 a.m. and 3 p.m. in the respective days to the Verahara office of the Department of Motor Traffic. In more local news, locals of Vellarava Bingiriya engaged in a protest earlier today.
The protest was staged opposing an apparel factory situated in the area. Residents alleged operations of the factory continue despite a COVID-19 outbreak within the factory. The protest was staged blocking the main road opposite the apparel factory in question in Vallarava, Bingiriya. Traffic flow was disrupted following the protest. However, the police stepped in to disperse the protesters. The protest concluded following assurance provided by religious leaders of the area that a solution would be provided. Officers of the riot squad of Bingiriya, Hettipola, Dumalasuriya were present to control the situation. The total COVID-19 caseload reported from Sri Lanka rose to 101,379 following the discovery of 783 patients yesterday, while total recoveries has risen to 94,311. 6,426 COVID-19 patients are currently under medical care. According to the Ministry of Health, total COVID-19 deaths currently stands at 644. The Ministry of Health has highlighted a sharp uptick in the number of COVID-19 infections in Sri Lanka. The Chief Epidemiologist of the Department of Epidemiology, Specialist Dr. Sudat Samaravira, noted the rapid rise has occurred following the formation of a COVID-19 cluster from areas such as Kurunegala.
It is important to remain cautious than usual. Always keep in mind that any person, be it a stranger or a family member, could be a COVID-19 patient regardless of whether he or she is symptomatic or asymptomatic. It is vital for everyone to stay at home without roaming in public places.
177 people were arrested by the police yesterday for failing to wear face masks and maintain social distancing.
Police spokesperson DIG Ajit Rohana said since the 30th of October last year, 3,647 people have been arrested for violating quarantine laws. He further added that the police will conduct operations to arrest those who violate quarantine laws further, and the laws will be tightened. A special operation was carried out at the Megoda Special Economic Centre yesterday. During the operation, police officers advised individuals who failed to wear face masks and adhere to health guidelines. Meanwhile, the Sri Lanka Association of Government Medical Laboratory Technologists convened a media briefing earlier today.
පාසල් දරුවන්ව පාසලට යවලා බලාපොරොත්තු වෙන්නේ මොන ආර්ථිකය කළමනාකරණය කරගන්නටද?
How can children go to school and support the economic growth of the country? The government is trying to show that they do not care about the pandemic anymore. Don't try to be too smart. We are fighting a global pandemic, and this ignorant attitude shown by the government will put us all in danger. Therefore, we believe the Education Ministry should be able to carry out online education. They had 1 year to prepare for this, and if they continue in this manner, the lives of the children will be in jeopardy.
පාසල් වලට ළමයි එක්කගෙන මේ විලාවේ යන්නේ ළමයි අනතුරු හෙලන්නට කියලා අපි පැහැදිලිවම කියනවා.
මේ තත්ත්වය ඇති වෙන බව පක්ෂ නායක රනිල් වික්‍රමසිංහ මැතිතුමා
A year ago, Ranil Wickremesinghe accepted this. Look at the situation in our country now. Even when PCR tests are randomly conducted on people, 50% of them test positive for the virus. If this continues, Sri Lanka will end up like India as well. The government has taken up steps to restrict May Day celebrations in the country following the agreement of all party leaders. However, May Day is not a day dedicated to the politicians, but for the labourers. Decisions in this regard should be made following the consultation of trade unions in Sri Lanka.
In some grim news from neighbouring India, most hospitals in Delhi and many other cities in India have completely run out of beds, forcing people to find ways to receive treatment for sick patients at home.
India has been reporting more than 300,000 cases per day, setting new daily records as this sharp spike has overwhelmed the healthcare system for many cities. This has left no choice for families but to arrange whatever they can at home for their sick loved ones. But the struggles are huge, from getting blood tests done to getting CT scans or X-rays. Labs are overrun and it's taking up to 3 days for the test results to come back. This is making it harder for treating doctors to assess the progression of the disease. Yesterday, the country has reported 346,786 new COVID-19 cases for the previous 24 hours, with 2,626 deaths, the world's highest daily toll since the pandemic began last year. Overall, nearly 190,000 people have died from COVID-19 in the country, while more than 16.6 million have been infected. International efforts are underway to help India as the country suffers critical oxygen shortages.
Parliamentarian Ashok Abesinghe made the following remarks at a media briefing organised yesterday to address matters surrounding the Colombo port city.
1,115 acres of land have been reclaimed from sea by China at a cost of 280 billion rupees. 43% of the total land mass of the area is now owned by China. When we came into power in 2015, the previous government had decided to hand over 50 acres to China. If that had been done, airspace more than 20 times that area would have fallen under the ownership of China, along with 250 kilometers of the sea. No planes would have flown above that zone in that case. When we refused to go ahead with that government in 2015, they halted the project. The contract to construct the stretch from Kadawatha to Meerigama along the Central Expressway was handed over to China. China did not fund it to express their dismay over not being able to obtain that 50 acres. That is why the stretch from Kadawatha to Meerigama was delayed. Complete ownership of that 43% is with China. A commission with no oversight has been appointed now. It will be reversed by the Supreme Court. We hope it will. If not, it will be defeated in Parliament. This requires a 2/3 majority and a referendum.
An army lorry and a tipper truck transporting sand met with an accident at the Urumpirei junction in Kopai, Jaffna, injuring 15 people.
Army spokesperson Brigadier Nilantha Premaratna said 12 soldiers are among the injured. The others are civilians. According to the police, 2 people travelling in the tipper truck had fled the scene and further investigations are underway to arrest them.
According to the Department of Meteorology, showers or thunder showers can be expected in several places in the western, central, Sabaragamuwa, southern, Uva, north central and northwestern provinces during the evening or night. The Met Department forecasts showers in the western and southern coastal areas later in the morning areas. The meteorologists said fairly heavy rainfalls of about 75 millimeters can be expected at some places in the western, Sabaragamuwa and central provinces and in the Gaul and Mathura districts.
One mission, one channel, and one more thing, 1 million subscribers on YouTube.
On to another headline-making story for today. Today is the 100th day of the Satyagraha launched by the farmers of Valsapugala, urging authorities to gazette a wild elephant management reserve in a bid to preserve the life of animals and forests. However, not a semblance of attention has been paid towards their demands to this day.
A group of farmers from Udanuwa Nikavarattiya pledged support to the Satyagrahas taking place in Valsapugala, Mahiyanganaya, Medawattiya and Galgamuwa. Namal Karuna Ratna, the national organizer of the All Ceylon Farmers Federation, was present at the occasion.
Wild elephants have caused damage to many houses, and these elephants have even killed people. And this area is a red zone for the human-elephant conflict. In a while, these people will have to climb on top of trees to overlook their harvest. Instead of spending time with their families, these fathers have to spend their night all alone on treetops to protect their harvest. And back in the morning hours, they have to work in their fields. Instead of an 8-hour shift, they now have to work the whole day without a break. The protests in Valsapugala, Mahiyangania, Galgamuwa, Madawachya are still going on. Months have passed, but the authorities have still not been able to show even a bit of concern to their cries. Instead of providing a solution, the government is passing sarcastic comments on these poor farmers. Recently in Mahiyangania, people were killed by elephant attacks, and tomorrow the villagers are performing their last rites. In such a backdrop, we urge the government to provide a scientific solution to this problem.
එමනම් මෙන්න මේකත් එක්ක අපි ආණ්ඩුවට බල කරලා කියනවා කරුණා කරලා මේ ප්‍රශ්නෙට අහුම්කම් දීලා ඕගොල්ලෝ පිළියම් තියනවා මේකට විද්‍යාත්මක විසඳුමක් දෙන්න ඕන කියලා අපි මේ යෝජනා කරන විසඳුම ක්‍රියාත්මක කරන්න.
The Satyagraha underway in Galgamuwa in support of the Valsapugala farmers' protest completes its 42nd day today. A poem recital also took place at the Satyagraha. Today is the 41st day of the Satyagraha being held in Mahiyangania in support of the Valsapugala protest. Another Satyagraha held in Madawachya, demanding solutions to the human-elephant conflict, completes its 39th day today.
The 93rd Academy Awards, famously known as the Oscars, was held earlier today after being postponed for 2 months. The star-studded award ceremony was broadcast from 2 locations for the first time, the traditional Dolby Theatre and the Union Station in Los Angeles, and was once again held without a host. And on that note, it's a wrap of lunchtime news on TV1. For the Newsfirst team, the voice of the people, I'm Jaima Ratnayaka. Take care, stay safe and have yourself a good day.